system because he is not afraid to give his entire body up every single play. I mean, he'll throw it up in there, doesn't matter how big they are. So we can do all kinds of the old adage of playing football with a battering ram. He's got a head like a battering ram. I mean, that dude can get in there and cause all kinds of havoc. So I think Malik's got a lot of potential.
Look at a guy like Shannon Forman. I mean, he really looks like a typical nose tackle, but in your system, he's lining up at end. Can you talk about the thinking about that and what does Shannon bring to the table?
You know, with Shannon, and to his credit, he's bought in on what we're asking him to do. His lateral movement is excellent. I mean, he is quick off the ball, side to side. In a traditional defense, more something they ran last year where you're playing threes and shades and you're playing techniques. Shannon's got the prototypical body to do that. But Shannon has the ability to move laterally side to side and cause a whole lot of trouble. And so the experiment of him having out there on the end right now has been really good. I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do as we get forward. And then we got Darius Slade back. He practiced with us last week and today. He's made some really good progress. So we're starting to find some guys and develop some guys that are doing some pretty special, some good things up front.
Hold up a second.
To that point, can you talk a little bit about Jalen Bates and now that he's healthy with the size he's got and whatnot, what are you seeing?
You know, actually, with here's another example very similar to JJ. He's the guy up front right now that he's playing the hardest of all those guys. Him and Shannon are really doing a good job running the ball, and Rennell, who's not as fast but lateral movement is just as quick. On the long stuff, you don't see it as much with Rennell. He's trying. He's just not as fast as those two guys on the longer runs. But Shannon and Jalen, I mean, they can run with anybody in the country, and Jalen is doing a great job. I mean, Jalen has the ability. He's somebody that you could use on kickoff, on punt team. You can be a guard and cover. So his athletic ability has really given us an opportunity to do some different things with those guys. And in evaluating the players on defense, you try and find who has the ability to make special plays when you need a big play. And we've got a couple different guys because of athletic ability. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a linebacker or a safety that we blitz to come off the edge to come free. We've got some stunts that we can design for those guys like Jalen and Shannon because they're so quick to give us the ability to surprise people with some different stunts. And so we've done some install that way this week with those guys doing some new things. And I mean, those two guys can run, and that's what you want. And that's what we'll continue to look forward to recruiting, big guys that can run.
The Tillman role is obviously new to this defense. What did you envision it to be in this scheme for Arizona State with the personnel that you have?
Well, with the guys that we have right now, it's more of a safety type. We've got a couple guys that have shown the ability to get down there in the box and run inside out. But right now we're asking some guys to do things they've never done before, so they're not really sharp at it yet. We've got a couple of them that, I mean, we're in our 8th practice, so you can't judge them and think they can't do it. We've got a couple of them that are making progress to what we want to be, who we want that guy to be. But I wish, Pat Tillman would have been the perfect guy for that position. I mean, that position has his name written all over it. And if anybody out there can find us another one like Pat, I mean, we'll be blessed. Those guys are getting closer, but as we can continue to go through spring, through the 15 practices, we'll have an idea of who is going to be that guy, and maybe it's one of those guys, maybe it's somebody that's coming in.
And that role at San Diego State, did it feature a bigger type of body compared to what you hear?
You know, over the 8 years, Nat Berhe, who was drafted in the 4th round by the New York Jets, he was 5'10", 190 pounds. Naeem McGee, the guy that came in behind him, he was about 6 foot, 210 pounds. And then the guy that we had last year, Parker Baldwin, that guy is, I mean, he's who you want physical wise. I mean, he's 6'2", almost 6'3". He's 215 pounds. He can run like a deer. He's a great football player. The one thing that all 3 of those guys had is they were fast. They could run. and they were really good, just natural football players. You didn't have to teach them where the ball is going. They saw pulling guards, they saw all those run fits, so they could get down in there. And the neat thing about that position, I think it's the greatest position in football, is we don't make those guys take on linemen with certain technique. They don't have to wrong arm and force it back to somebody. It's designed for that guy to be able to run up there and use his athletic ability to jump around them, run through their legs, jump over them. I mean, they can do it however they want. So if a guy's not doing it right all the time, we don't put rules on them. We just fire him and get somebody else. And so that's the process that we're in right now, is finding out who's going to be that guy. Evan Fields has done some pretty good things there. Tyler Wiley's done some pretty good things there. We put Jalen Harvey in there today. We're going to keep moving guys in there. Shoot, JJ keeps telling me, let me be the Tillman. So, I mean, if JJ can do it, we'll design the defense a little bit different and let him do it and use those 4 guys behind him to be 4 corners. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can skin that cat, and we're going to, over the next 7 practices, decide who it's going to be.
On your running for your loafing
Yes.
penalties, how is that going? It doesn't look like they're running quite as much, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But how are you progressing in terms of?
You know what, probably the neat thing of it, day to day, it's gone up and down. The first day we were terrible, we had 69. Came back the next time we had 32. The last Friday night was probably their best night of effort wise. It's funny when you, as a coach, you walk off the field, it's never as good as you think, it's never as bad as you think. Because Friday night I thought we were terrible. I thought, man, we got a long way to go, we're not going to be good. And then you get upstairs, 10:30 at night, you watch the film, 12:30 at night, you're like, wow, we weren't as bad as I thought. You know, we made progress tonight. And so then I come back on Saturday and I watch it again, and I go through with a fine-tooth comb, and I graded all 11 positions, and I found 12. And then we come back on Tuesday. Tuesday, if you're out there in practice, you think the defense had a really good day. We had a little bit leg up on the advantage on the offense because we were playing a little bit faster. It's the laziest football team I've ever been around. And so we had quite a few more today, and I think Coach Pierce ran with them, I ran with them, to let them know that we're all in. And that we can, if they'll just run to the football, I mean, there's great things about being a great defense. You have to have good players, and you have to play hard. Because it doesn't matter how good of a scheme you have. If your players can't play, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be good. And I told those guys, you know, we've got some good players, but we don't play hard here. And it's a process that if you want to be great and you want to do the things we talk about, being top 10 nationally on defense and being one of the top 2 defenses in the Pac-12, I mean, right now Washington has that claim. Right? Well, if you want to be where Washington is, then you got to play hard. And you put, I mean, at San Diego State, if you put on our tape, those guys flew around and they were around the football. We finished 11th in the country through the last 4 years. And granted, we had really good players there. I mean, there's a reason that San Diego State went to most football games, because they did a good job recruiting and have really good players. We've got enough talent to be really good if they'll buy in and play hard. And then the third thing is you give them a chance by scheme. Well, they're buying in on what we're trying to do. And I think schematically we can give a lot of people trouble. We're getting closer to how hard we want them to play. But when I say we're getting closer, we're so far away from our expectation that's why we're still doing the perfect 10s. And we'll keep doing them until they figure it out. I told them today, if you want to be great and we don't have to waste time, we can get better at the fundamentals and stuff, then start running the ball every single time. And that stuff becomes a habit. And right now we just don't have that habit. There's a couple guys that are starting to get it. And there's a couple, the worst defender out there, and I'm not picking on him, and I told those guys there's no room. Chase Lucas. He's having a hard time running the ball every time. Now, granted, a corner has to run a lot further than a nose guard. He has to run almost across the entire field every time. And that's the expectation that we have. And if we've only got 5 guys in the secondary that can play, he's going to have to play 100 plays sometimes. And he's going to be able to play at that pace for 100 plays. Well, in today's world of football, with all the TV timeouts and everything you get, it's really not that hard. So if we get them in condition during practice, they can do that. It's not an unrealistic expectation. And I think at the beginning, they didn't believe in it. The first 2 days was good because it was exciting, it was new. Then you get into practice 5 or 6, and this has become, this isn't right. But we got guys like JJ out there who are, hey guys, just listen to what he says. If we want to be great and we want to be where they've been, then listen. Everybody run the ball so we don't have to waste our time doing this. And I really don't think it's a waste of time, because if you instill it in their minds and it becomes something special, then all of a sudden they hold each other accountable. And it's just like in school or football, we're going to do the same thing. I told a couple of those guys, if you don't handle your football or your schoolwork, you ain't practicing. Because the one thing they love to do right now is play football. Well, our expectation is that you go to school, you graduate. Well, if you're not going to do that, then we're going to take you off the field. And they're buying into everything that we're trying to do here. And that gives you a chance. Are we any good? Don't know, but we'll find out. But it gives you a chance.
Diving into that, is the challenge simply conditioning and that mindset, or was it too many factors you're talking about?
It is, and the way we practice around here, I mean, we do everything full speed, everything you go. I mean, you're running from drill to drill. All those little things, the conditioning, that you condition yourself. So we've never, the sprints, some of those things, the perfect 10s when we do them in practice is designed to get those guys really, really tired right before we do a team period, so that they might loaf during that period because they're tired. But then they have to become mental tough to fight through that, so they don't do that. Sometimes we do them at the beginning of practice to give them a chance that when we get to a team period and we have our theory periods and they have a chance to catch their breath, that they're a little bit more fresh. It's not as hard to fight through that fatigue. We do enough running during practice that we don't have to run them after practice to get conditioned. But if they buy in, the conditioning comes with all that stuff. They're running every play, they don't need to do the extra stuff, and they're in good enough shape to play as hard as we expect them to play. So it's a process, and we're making progress, but we're not where we want to be.